we miss something, we'll be able to remedy it in real time. And that's what the next 2 weeks are like. There will also be preferences. Preferences, a good example was today. Chucky messaged me and said, hey, chats aren't being auto-assigned. Agents get the opportunity to decline that. He didn't like that. So Chucky can have what he wants there. And there will be little tweaks like that when we get feedback from y'all, we'll implement them. And I think it'll all be pretty quick. Through the course of this, we'll also learn how to use the platform. We'll use best practices for the platform. And together as a group, we'll design your instance. And I hope that we can continue to iterate on this and get you up to the next level. But without further ado, want to go over everything, show you where you are. For those of you who haven't met me face to face, think I've harassed each of you at certain points. Everybody in this call has been thoroughly harassed by me and is probably very ready for this contract to come to an end. But here we go. Ryan, yes, sir.
Really quick before you jump in, so I don't interrupt you on the way, wanted to say thank you to everyone for rolling up the sleeves and getting this done. This was a very aggressive target, and so very proud that we were able to avoid the catastrophic scenario. So props to everyone. And Sergio, I saw you just joined. Kelsey was giving you flowers earlier, so missed that. But
oh, really?
I'm a big Sergio fan. Big Sergio fan.
So, thank you guys so much. And I think just like high level objectives here, like we want to limit the damage as much as possible here. We get a lot of bookings from calls. It has a very massive impact on order revenue. And so we should, I think once we go past the demo and for the next week, outside of testing with the team, we need to test and try to figure out if like as many different entry points as we can, covering them and figuring out if there's ways from a minimum that we can at least alert ourselves, hey, this phone number used to go here, people are calling it, we don't know what to do with it. Same with chat, same with email, just so that like we can at least fix them very quickly. And I think in general, like the metrics we care about is like we should just compare historical call numbers, answer rates, etc. We have all this data. I think one big concern I have is we've built a bunch of reporting wrapped around customer. We don't have this yet from what I saw in your message, Kelsey, on the Gladly side. How are we going to triage and manage this in the short term until the reporting can be set up? That's one of my major concerns because like we don't have this visibility today from what I read on your email.
Yes. Okay. So all the data is there. The data as far as custom dashboards that need to be built. The out of the box dashboards are quite robust, and I'll go over them with you. And they can be used in the short term for any sort of reporting needs. Immediately after launch, once I get a little data in there, I just want to be able to validate the dashboards that I make and not, think that I made a dashboard and then nothing was populated into it. So once we get a little data, I'll build out some custom dashboards. I'll build a few that I just have up my sleeve that I've been using for years. I also want to get input from you, and they're all very customizable. I think long term, and though this isn't exact answer to your question, long term, I do think it's probably best to go ahead and get that connector set up and just pull all of the Gladly data into your warehouse and invest in that, mainly because you're going to be able to attribute it to orders and users and other data sets, and it's just going to be a lot more powerful. So 3 tiers. First tier is we'll use the out-of-the-box dashboards. I'll go over those. They're pretty easy to use. Fast follow. I'll set up reporting after we do have a little bit of data going in, and I'll get a head start on that after I feel like testing is in a good place. Just need the data to validate it. Y'all can give you some feedback on those dashboards, and we can continue to iterate them. And then I do think my recommendation is that we set a timeline to try to ingest Gladly data into your warehouse. So that's locked and loaded. So there, I think that's the strategy. That's the strategy for now. Is there any data? What do you I would ask this: what are you most concerned about from a data perspective? Like on Friday, what's the first thing you would want to know?
We can actually maybe later in this call share kind of some of the core customer support dashboards that we look at, and
Okay.
I think we'll probably answer some of those questions.
Great, and I have those as well, so I'll try to replicate them as best as I can. But good to know. As we all know on this call, data can be overwhelming, and it's probably better to limit it and use the data, build dashboards into what you care about so that those things are highlighted rather than it getting watered down by data that maybe you're not as interested in. So there we go. All right, so let's go over the instance. Butch, I'm sorry, you had a hand, and I have an answer, I hope.
Yeah, so for the reporting, and this is for actually you and perhaps Ryan. Ryan, as you know, we're still on legacy reporting, right? We're using Metabases for all of the reports that we generate. And when Friday or Thursday hits, actually, or well, Friday, when Friday hits, there is a report that we use to manage our day-to-day, our hourly operations, right? It's called an intraday report. We see all of our numbers using this intraday report. This is churned out by Jury and his team, and those are all based out of our Metabases. When we port over all of the data from Gladly into our warehouses, will the Metabases also update?
We'd have to look into it. I don't know what's in the. I'm sure it's probably not going to. It's pulling from. I'm sure it's pulling from Amazon Connect, and so I imagine that report's probably going to be broken.
Butch, but
Yeah.
I think Randall was trying to say something, but I think your audio is not working.
100%. It'll be.
Okay.
What's that, Randall? Sorry.
I think you said 100% it will be broken.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be broken.
All right.
That sounds like a really critical thing that needs to be resolved before the 28th.
Yeah, we'd have to connect Gladly and to Fivetran.
I mean, ultimately, we want to transition out of those Metabases, right? But for the meantime, if there could be a quick fix so that we can continue to manage per hour, I think that would be a major help, right? Otherwise, we'll be flying blind.
I believe we'll be able to give you what you need, Butch. I think you're going to need to source it directly from Gladly. Let's set up some time with you and I and the team leads, and we'll go over some reporting. I think it'll take a while to get the Fivetran connection going, and then getting a data engineer, data scientist to go in and build everything on y'all's end for the final state. But I do think we can get you access to dashboards and reports that will serve your purpose. And the advantage is, I don't know if you're doing any sort of translation of dashboards, like if you have a template of a report that you send out and then you have to, copy and paste fields and build out that report. That's exactly what you do. So I could actually build out a dashboard that just mimics the report. So really all you'd have to do is take a screenshot or export the report and it'll be ready to go, formatted in the way that you want. That would be the goal there.
Let me set something up with you and Jury. Jury cares
Sounds
for
great.
All right, thanks.
Sounds awesome. All right, so without further ado, I think I'm going to start with the fun stuff, which is Gladly's omni-channel capability, the hero product, the customer timeline. All right, does everybody see Gladly here?
Yes.
All right, so this is the admin or team lead view. This is not the view that agents are going to see. The important thing, and this is so important for you, Chucky, and Butch, and any of the other team leads on the call, Gladly has a very powerful auto assignment routing engine, and we've set that up. Channels go to entry points go to inboxes go to agents that are assigned to those inbox, and then they're routed based on their availability. And then there's a couple other nuances there as well. All an agent has to do is they come in for their shift, and I highly recommend that you set up shifts based on channel, not based on inbox. And so Group A might be on email and phones. So they're answering phone calls and then answering emails in between phone calls, or messaging, which includes chat and SMS and email. So they're receiving chats as they come in. That's their priority. Those have a quicker SLA. And then they're working on emails before in between chats, or if it's a little bit dead. So if I were an agent, the first thing I'm doing is I'm coming in, I'm looking at my schedule, and I'm saying, oh, today for this hour, I am on email and I am on phones. And so what would I do? I would go in and I would click email, I would click phones, and then I would click next. And the thing that's routed to me is the thing that I am supposed to be working on, period. So whatever comes, that's the thing you're supposed to be working on. Do that thing. You apply the topic, which you all know because you did your Gladly certification training, that is applicable to the contact, and then you will close out the contact, and then you press next, and the very next contact will be served up for you. Let's say you're busy on phones and email and you have a really tough phone call and you need a little bit more time. Right now I've set it up for 30 seconds, I believe, in between calls, but let's say you need a little bit more time to wrap up, or you need to talk with some team leads or escalate to another department. All you gotta do is take yourself off voice. No more phone calls will come in until you are ready to receive them. But
Are you gonna demo how to do all that?
yes, I will. So you would turn off voice, and then you would be you'll just be served up emails right now, and nothing more will be served up for you. The same thing is on chat. You would make yourself available for chat. You can see that a chat just came in, stuff that I actually think that's one of the engineers' tests, but we've all been sending them, will come in. And right now, the experience, I haven't adjusted it yet, Chucky, is that they will get the option to either accept or decline it. When they accept it, they'll then be in the chat and we'll be talking live to customers. All green up here, not a good idea, especially for a team of your size. So this is really important. Nobody should be on phones and chat at the same time. It's chaos. Your team is too large for that. You should probably always be in email and or tasks, which we'll go over shortly, or SMS and or chat and email, or phones and email. Let's talk about the customer timeline here and how it works. So if I go to, let's find me. Okay, so here's me. I want to demonstrate the omni-channel workflow within Gladly, which I think is its coolest feature. I think it's awesome. So you're on a customer's timeline. Gotta love live demos. Given a call.
Do you want to have voice turned on?
No.
No. Okay.
I just want to show you how when you can see the phone call comes in right here while I'm on it. I could make myself available, press next. Oops. I'm not in this inbox right now, which is why I can't answer it, but we also don't want to have an infinite feedback loop. So if I were in this inbox that the customer called, I would be able to answer it. I'm not in the inbox right now, which is how we route things. So a agent who is, for instance, on the fulfillment team, it doesn't work customer support or vice versa, would not be able to answer a phone call that is going into an alternate inbox. And this is how routing is achieved. So you can see a call there. I'm going to send an email just so we can see how these come in. Give it a second. It's got to go up to space, back. And then while that is also working, I will show you that if the customer sends a text, I will also, okay, so here's the email came in, and then here's my SMS right there. And so it's all in one unified timeline, and then agents can actually context switch whilst they are on the phone with a customer. So if I were on a phone call, I could say, hey, let me just send you a text of that link, and I could just press this plus button, select SMS, and be like, check out this link. And then that would send. I just got the text. You'll have to trust me on that. And it is sent. It is sent to the customer. Voicemails will also populate, except there'll be a little bit of a call summary, a transcript of what the voicemail says, and then there'll be a little media icon with a play button where agents can then listen to the calls, and voicemails are routed in the email and text queue. So voicemails are not sent to people who are necessarily live on phones, which is nice because they are, in a sense, proactive phone calls. And so they're on the agent's own timeline. And all of this is configurable, and you will find solutions, particularly you, Chucky, and you, Butch, of like, hey, I would prefer it if this worked this way, and we'll be able to set that up. Let's talk topics. So every single contact will have to have a topic in order to be closed. Ideally, every single contact is going to have a user topic, which would be customer here for me. I am not in the database, therefore you're not seeing any information here pulled from HelloText database. If I were, Sergio and his team set up a user type, which I can show you. No, it's Yago has some data. Yeah, Yago's got some data. You can see user type client, and then if he had orders, those would be here. From the user panel with the lookup adapter, you can see their opt-in for transactional and marketing, SMS, and emails. This is the link to the Stripe URL, which I won't click because I don't think I have access to. And then the admin profile here. So when an agent is looking at a customer, one click to admin, one click to Stripe, and then the user type is presented up here. We also have a rule that's running where when the contact is received, I don't have a way to test this right now, but I will harass the engineering team later. When Gladly detects a user type, it's going to add one of the user type topics. And what that's going to allow us to do is aggregate client contacts, partner contacts, and then geek or tech contacts based on what they're saying. So in the past, y'all had 2 or 3 different dispositions or contact taxonomies that were used for different user types. Now we really just have one. Some topics will be exclusive to a particular user type, but some of them are also universal and can be used between user types. And so we'll have the user type, and then we'll have the actual nature of the contact, and we'll be able to dig into the data that way. This will be, it'll be superfluous when we all get the Fivetran connector set up because you're going to know who the user is and what the user type is. And so I don't think we'll necessarily need to have this set up that way. It might just be too many fields for you, but in the interim, we'll be able to split out contact types based on users. All right, so let's talk about how topics work. So in order to close a topic, I have to have at least, in order to close a contact, I'm going to have to add a topic type. So I'll add the topic type here.
Is this like a disposition?
This is a disposition, yeah. So let's talk about vernacular here because Gladly has their branding. So forgive me for speaking in their vernacular, but topics mean dispositions or contact categorization. So that's a topic. Answers can be a variety of things, and I'll go over this shortly. Answers are macros. They are internal knowledge base answers. They are public knowledge base answers. And you can actually have separate answers by channel. So messaging, chat, and SMS, those answers might be a little bit smaller, a little bit more to the point. And then an email answer might be longer.
Okay. So
And a
I guess
little
my
bit more.
follow-up to that is like, are these topics fully fleshed out? Because like, for example, you pick user type customer, like if that's all someone has to pick to close a chat, like what's to stop them from someone calling for an order related thing and they pick user type customer, so it's just properly or improperly dispositioned?
Nothing, unfortunately. This is where training comes in. And in the same way that we need to trust agents to speak clearly to customers and answer questions that are presented to them and follow SOPs, this is another SOP that needs to be followed. So the user type is going to be automatically assigned, assuming that they do indeed have user data or have an HelloTech profile, whereas the topic or the disposition will be a separate topic added. And then there are a few. Randall, did you have a question?
Your audio is broken again.
Always broken. I have some additional color for you. So I had talked to Nina, Jackie, essentially anybody who is doing dispositions, because we're sharing all of it. I just created them so that anybody would be using any of them. So as long as you layer in the user type, customer, tech, and order type, along with the team that the agent is assigned to, we're sharing the disposition. So regardless of somebody choosing something different, not splitting it up by like team anymore, right? So like before it was like fulfillment, field ops, and customer service or something like that. So we got rid of that. So we're all sharing them. So we're creating trainings to like clear that up. So even if somebody chooses something that there isn't anything that they shouldn't be outside of the technical team choosing something about booking, which would be weird. But
Okay. Is there a plan to have dispositions or topics by role or by team moving forward? Because I imagine this list will get pretty unmanageable at some point. My follow-up to that is, I know we're talking about keeping it simple now, but like eventually, are we able to programmatically, based on the contents of the conversation, suggest what the topic should be?
Absolutely, and even auto-assign them.
Okay.
And we have already done some work to try to set that up, at least with forms, where based on what inbox it comes into, what email address it goes to, what the contents are of both the subject and the body text, there are lots of ways that we can programmatically add it. I think that Kelsey doesn't quite understand the topics. We did have a change of topics twice. And so I really need to understand the business case, like the use case up for each one, and understand what's important to y'all. And I think it can help guide that. I think that the topics that we have right now are a good V1, at least to launch. And the good news is that topics, they retain their identity. So let's say we have a topic that's like order status, tech late or something, which we don't, but let's say we did. Order status tech late, and we wanted to change that to tech didn't show up or something like that. The topic would maintain its identity through its topic ID, but we could rename it, and so the data isn't lost, if that makes sense. So it's set up in a way here that everything can be, this can be expanded, and I'm really just relying on y'all to give me context of what information is important. When Nick and I went through the existing dispositions, it seemed like we weren't getting a lot of data from it. There was a lot of like drop, call, or others. And so there wasn't a lot of, there was data there. It didn't seem like we were necessarily unearthing the true nature of the contact reason. And so the intent was to try to point y'all to fewer reasons and more specific reasons. So Randall and the team came up with these. And so this is what we're using now. And everybody has access to the sheet. This is the topics table of contents. These are all the topics that are in Gladly right now. These are what they were corresponding. This was their corresponding topic. These are the answers or macros that correspond with each topic. The team that uses them, Chucky and his team, all of the what do you guys call it? Senior customer service. Thank you.
Senior team leads.
Senior team leads. They have all been working together as a team to populate reference answers. So the idea with Gladly is that whilst you are in a conversation, you open up your answers panel and you can search for tech, and you have a million different answers that correspond with text. You could say, if you click on one of these answers, you can see this is an internal reference answer. And so it gives the agent all of this information about the specific subject matter. Agents can expand it, dig in, it's right there. And then if this particular one had an email or messaging answer macro, these would be lit up here. And then this is the corresponding public answer in the help base, in the knowledge base, the FAQ page. Let me see if I can find one that has a, there we go. So this is the way a messaging answer would come out. So hello, Kelsey. This is Josh from Hello Tech. I have an ambient. It's like we might need to change this. Whoever loaded this one in, we can make it agent name. I have an ambient order in, and then you can have city, state, zip, and then these fields right here. If I were to use this, I could not send this without filling out these fields. And so you can dictate what agents say and what information they put in there. Down the line, if an agent selects a answer, we can also make it add the topic to answer your question previously, Ryan. So if agents are using macros regularly, which is generally a best practice, so we can have quality control, you can then coordinate so that the corresponding topic applies when that answer is applied. You can even set up routing after that. So essentially the world is our oyster. Goal again, quick, simple launch that's still very powerful, and then get feedback from this group, the team, and be able to finesse this instance into exactly what you want it to be. And I think I just digressed a little bit. But any questions about that? About topics, answers, content, all of that? Yes, and Orion definitely did. Chucky, ask away.
Nope, sorry.
You did.
You're muted, Chucky.
Is the topic? Yes. Yes. It will not let you close a it will not let you close a conversation until a topic has been added. So,
But I think those things, I think there's the next button at the top and closing the conversation. Those are two different things, right?
yes. Let me demo it since we're here. How about that? All right. So if I try to close this, let me just delete this draft here. If I tried to close this, there's no topics applied. I would go and it grays out the close, so I couldn't do it. I could do next and get served up another conversation. And if I do, they would go into my customer timeline, and these are all assigned to me. And the expectation is, hey, I would be responsible for answering all of these. If for some reason I didn't answer all of these before the end of my shift, or if one of these gets to 10 minutes before due date, which is based on SLA, right now, emails are set to 24 hours. Chats are set to 5 minutes. SMS is set to 5 minutes, and SMS is set to 15 minutes, and phone calls are set to 5 minutes. If the conversation is about to breach SLA and it's still assigned to the same agent, it will reassign to a new agent to make sure that the contact gets answered before SLA. Again, all of this is configurable, but where Gladly is very powerful, and where I think that y'all are going to really get a lot of juice from the squeeze, is in the workforce management and the ability to quickly respond to tickets and ensure that tickets don't just sit around and don't get answered, because once they are assigned to an agent, it becomes their responsibility. But yes, agents can hit next many, many times and have several tickets assigned to them. The caveat being that they then have several tickets assigned to them that they're going to need to get through. So best practice is really just taking it one at a time. Once I add a topic, I can then close and next, or just close. So if I press close and next, it serves up the next conversation. There's nothing more assigned to me because we don't have any more conversations in the queue. But if there were, then I would get the next one that's assigned to me. Let's talk a little bit about workforce management, because this is a nice little segue here. Live boards, you guys are going to love this. Extremely, extremely powerful with Gladly. To start off with, this is your main panel where you're going to see how many conversations are created and closed. This is a great metric just to see what you have and the rate at which your team is working. You'll see how many tickets, or excuse me, conversations that you have open, how many conversations that are new, and how many are waiting. Waiting means that a reply has been sent, but the conversation still remains open, with a total roll up here. And then you have SLA achievements based on those SLA targets that we've assigned. So voice SLA, email SLA, SMS SLA, and chat SLA. In the agents panel, which is probably my favorite panel, you can see who is logged in right now and who is working. You can see what channels they're on, and where you're going to love this, Butch, is you will see if somebody's logged into phones or not, and if they're supposed to be. So you see how you can see this little phone icon here? That means they're logged into phones. If it's not on there, then they're not logged into phones. And then the second they go idle, or excuse me, 10 minutes after they go idle, they go here to away. And so if somebody is supposed to be, like I'm all excited, they're supposed to be um, working and they're away, well, I think we might have a opportunity there. You can also see what they're on, which is also really exciting. See what they're working on. And then in the case of a phone call, if you're a team lead, you can listen into the phone call or even barge into the phone call. If you were doing training purposes and it just goes off the rails, you need to jump in, you're more than welcome to just barge in there as well. There are more robust things you can set up with People Match, where if you can see who's assigned to whom, but you can also set up where a particular agent, if down the road you only want it, you have this super VIP customer and only Danielle should talk to that customer, you could set it up so that the system tries its hardest to find Danielle when Johnny VIP writes in, but if Danielle isn't working, it would then go to someone else. And so all of this can be configured as well. We haven't organized any of this. You may not want to. Many instances never do, but if that's something that y'all wanted to explore down the line, you definitely could. You know what? I'll also just do a plug here. Gladly is hosting their annual convention, and I'm actually one of the speakers at it. It's called Gladly Connect Live. It's at the beginning of March. And I would really recommend that if anybody's interested in going from this group, you could learn a lot and connect with other members and learn other ways to leverage the tool. I don't know if anybody has any time, but it's a fun time. Yes, and it's also streamed live, so you can see all of the different conversations and join with all the different seminars. But that is not what we're talking about at the moment. I want to go through the way that everything is set up so that we're all on the same page and tell you what all of these panels do. Still have plenty of time here. Okay, so actually, before we do that, I want to show you forms really, really quickly. Okay, so forms, these are all the forms that you have right now. The green ones are the ones we have identified that are actually still in use or appear to still be in use. The most used one is either the FAQ contact form or the technician support, but let's go through each one. So Chucky and Butch, this is your damage claim form. So required fields are name, email, order number. We can put a character delimiter on this as well. I didn't know your order structure, but if you wanted to make sure that what they put in is actually an order number, we can do that. This, by the way, for those of you who don't know, is powered by a separate platform. Gladly does not have internal forms. This is powered by FormStack, so it's a form solution that I have probably made Orion have a heart attack getting me access to, but came through. So you put your incident date, incident time, service type, fire, police reports, damage type. I just recreated this form almost exactly. You couldn't do multi-select before, so I added multi-select with this new form. So if several things are damaged, the description, repair estimate, you can drag and drop media or images files here, and then specify your reimbursement method. This goes to claims@hellotech.com and will populate in the team leads inbox, which we call, it'll populate in damage claims inbox. Damage claim inbox, but it'll be serviced by the senior support team. The next one is, and this one will be featured on the site, and there's a lot of opportunity here for you guys, which I'm pretty excited about. Because Sergio and his beautiful team set up this is your website. This lovely panel And Sergio, I had to clear all my cookies because I was in cached browser hell. So my ID had no longer identified to show me
Oh,
to
okay.
show me the split
Okay.
IO. But I was in disaster mode last time. I was like, I gotta just clear everything.
I can share my screen if you want.
Okay. Yeah, Sergio can show you. Actually, why don't we do that? That would be good. Sergio, if you could share your screen and show
Sure
us
thing.
the split IO of how it's populating right now. But yeah, actually, I'm
Right
excited
here.
to see it too.
This is
So,
powered by Gladly now.
powered by Gladly. So this is the Gladly customer-facing knowledge base or help center, and then we also have a tech one that's pointed at the app. And if you scroll up there, Sergio.
Scroll up. Yeah.
Yes, sir. All right. If you click, I don't know, have you set up the because this is on Split IO, is this all set up with the links or not yet?
The chat, yes.
All right, so the chat link's there. Before we get to chat though, because there's a whole nother beast, the email us link, if you click that, what happens?
I think so. Yeah. It's sending you to form stack.
Okay,
which
sending
is
in a
the
form
current
stack.
form.
So what we're trying to do here, team, and what I think is really smart is we want to encourage customers to utilize a form. By utilizing a form, we can have greater control of understanding without leaning too heavy into AI or string matches of what it is that they're contacting about, and then route that to different inboxes where we can assign different SLAs. At the moment, most of the routing that's currently configured in customer is pretty universal and generic, where most stuff goes to the same place. But using this form, we can try to split out we can split out different contact reasons and assign them to different inboxes. I've done a few things here. So if you put that to customer, you can see that how can we help populates. And I've set this up. I don't know that the dropdown shows when you show with Google Meet, but I've got a couple different pre-categorizations. And my point is we can expand on this. We can expand on what these are and then route those to their corresponding inbox and know what they are, pre-assign the topic, and everything is ready to go and served up to the agent with a bow. And so this will populate directly in Gladly. It spoofs the email address of the, that whatever you put in email. So it appears to come from the customer directly, and then it will appear in that customer's timeline. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah. Is there any reason why we have like chat and email broken out into like two separate channels from the contact us page versus if we have people available, they can go to chat and we collect this information as part of the chat form or whatever. But if we don't have anyone available, that same form would go to email by default. Like I don't usually see like these two channels like totally broken apart like this, and where you actually have to hop into another browser tab to actually submit this form. It just feels like a really weird experience.
Heard and understood. We can embed this form. We can iframe it. There are lots of different ways that we can do it. At the moment, this is the way that it's configured, but we can change it to however you want. I have done this personally several times, and it's been successful. But at the end of the day, we can set up whatever it is that you'd like to design. The reason that the tiles, the real reason that we had all of these tiles created was so that we had a place that made sense to display our SMS number for our A2P what is the word I'm looking for? A2P registration, so that we can send text messages to customers, because we had to display this information at the bottom in order to be able to be granted text send privileges. The text us tile will actually open, the call us tile will actually open the chat init script, and so chat will load from that. And this is just calling out that you can text, you can chat, you can email. Go ahead, Orion.
So really quick
Yeah.
around for you, just to follow up my thought, like if we say chat with us, we're available 24/7, or email us, we'll respond within 24 hours. Like I imagine people are going to be clicking chat a hell of a lot more than they're going to be clicking email as well, based on how this is laid out.
Yes. That it definitely makes sense. I think that some customers don't necessarily like to chat, and we're giving them the opportunity to choose the channel that works best for them. For me personally, I generally like to send an email or a form submission and move on with my life. It takes me a couple minutes rather than staying on the line with a customer in the moment and going back and forth, or excuse me, going back and forth with a customer service agent. So it really just gives the option to the customer. But again, we can configure this in whatever way that we want. Ryan, I wanted to get to your question as well.
At a minute, we gotta clean that page up. That massive logo is atrocious.
The
On
The
the
form.
form, yeah, we gotta
on the
clean
form, absolutely.
Yeah, I think to answer more of your question, Ryan, from a customer experience standpoint, if people are clicking chat, they're expecting an immediate response, and if we automatically forward them to an email without front ending something that says, "Hey, there's no one available to service your request," this will be created as a ticket. It's just an easy way to separate them. So, because people that are going to chat are expecting a live agent, live response, like quick turnaround. And if it goes to an email, it's not going to be quick turnaround, and they're not going to like it very much. We have that same problem with our Zendesk instance, which I'm trying to fix right now on the Latchdoor side. So splitting them right now makes sense from a customer experience standpoint because they know what they're getting into.
Okay, I mean, I don't agree with that from a customer experience standpoint, but like we can chat later. I mean, usually what I see whenever there's no agents available, it says, "Sorry, there is no one available." Like, leave a message and we'll reply to you within 24 hours or whatever the case may be. But
Right, what I'm saying, yeah, what I'm saying is for launch, we have it split up like this. We can front end it differently now, but this is just how it's split right now.
okay,
It is configurable to whatever you want, Ryan, whatever the vision is. Again, tight timeline, trying to stand something up quickly
Yeah.
that we know will work was really the main intention here. The other thing to call out is that chat will throttle if there's no agents available. So chat will hide itself and say that no agents are available. So this also gives them the opportunity to reach out via a different channel.
Okay.
Chat is a good thing to talk about, actually, while we're on it. So these 4 tiles, these were honestly relatively arbitrarily picked by Kelsey, and they can be whatever they want, whatever you want them to be. They can be either an answer, which takes you to the knowledge base. So if Sergio, you would click on Hello Tech membership guarantee for me under the chat widget. This is the way that an answer appears. Customers can also search for an answer whilst they're in the chat widget, or you can link to another URL. So if you go back, I've linked to the form. So that the first one is the contact form, the second one is the technician's form, and the third one is the contact form pre-filled to book a new appointment, which is just done by manipulating the URL. These seem to be higher contact reasons, but again, you can pick 4, whatever you guys want, we can do. This is just what I stood up for this demo. We can have it this way for launch, but again, your point of view on all of this is the most important thing. So whatever it is that you guys want to do, we can execute for you and or guide you into what the best decision is. As far as the giant Hello Tech logo, that's also me. So give me the logo that you want. Let me know how you want it to look. This is just, again, late night Kelsey setting something up. We
want to flag it for in a demo.
Yeah, we can manipulate that however you want. If there's a logo, or if you want me to get Patrick involved, we can do that as well. I don't know that I have the best style in the world. I try, though. I definitely try. All right. Where are we? Let's see, what did I not? Oh, I just wanted to go through general configuration, more of training for this group, especially so we can have ownership over the instance and where different things might be configured. I'm
Can I
going to go through all.
question as well, Kelsey? Do we
Yeah,
have
yeah.
any real staged type scenarios of like a customer that has an order, calling in about an order, tickets around an order? Like, did we go through any of those flows?
I can generate those for you and do that as a follow-up. I've not designed anything like that right now. Instead, I'm making sure
So
my
just
intent, right?
on our side, on the engineering side, like whenever there's like a customer has orders, are they showing up on their timeline?
It's showing up on the customer panel on the left-hand side. If the person in Gladly has orders, you can see the orders they have in the timeline.
Do we have anyone, Kelsey, that in the Staging account that has orders?
Yeah, we could demo that. Actually, if anybody, I'm in production right now, and this is hooked up to production. If y'all can give me, I'm gonna take over here, Sergio. If y'all can give me a email address, I can show you how it works, and we can actually, we could actually show the lookup adapter in real time if there's.
Yeah, in staging, just look for the same Yago account.
Okay, I'm not in staging right now.
Do you need an email or something to pull up?
Just any customer. Give me any customer, especially if they have orders. That's
You
a
can
good.
see Ryan at hellotech.com.
That's a good one. All righty. So if I go to Ryan here and I find him, he doesn't display. So what I would do, because any of your previous contacts have not been imported yet, I would put the email in here. It's running the lookup adapter right now. It says link to external customer. Yeah, I don't see anything with you right now. You do have data, Ryan at hellotech.com?
You can also do ryan.salmons@latch.com.
Ryan.salmons@latch.com. There it is. Okay. So this one has content. You can see the orders are nested here. This is the admin profile. This links out to the order. I don't remember how many guys did. You throttled it at 10, Sergio? 10
The last
orders?
10, yes.
Last 10 orders. So you can see here. It's got your address. It says that you're a client, but you also have a company name, which is
Okay.
interesting.
It's because the integration have. But is there a way, like, so like, if I called in about my order, can you associate conversations to that order?
No, not at the moment. We cannot. You could make an assumption based on what the recent order is, but it's not gonna attribute it to the order. Additionally, and I know we've gone over this a bunch of times, but just want to be very clear. This information does not live in Gladly. Gladly is just looking at it in the moment. And so it can route based on order information, user information, whatever attributes we want to surface, and we've surfaced quite a few. But as far as aggregating data for reporting down the line, that would need to be done in your data warehouse, or if you wanted to manually capture an order, we could use something called freeform topics, where we could fill out an order number and call it order number, and then we could attribute that to attribute that contact to that order number. But it's not going to do it organically. And note that the platforms that do say that they can do it organically are simply just taking what they think is the most recent, just taking the most recent order, or the order that they think that it is. But we actually don't know what order a customer is reaching out about unless they tell us, right? Because you might be reaching out about something several months ago, even though you've made a more recent order.
Okay. So that is something we could build, though, if we we wanted to later on.
Absolutely.
One of our big metrics is contacts per order.
Yes, CPO. We could definitely do that. That is, there's no reason you couldn't do that at the moment. If you look at orders during a time period and contacts during a time period, and then you get CPO. It's pretty standard practice. We're not going to be able to compute CPO within Gladly directly because we need to get the orders. We need to get the amount of orders within the time period. That's half the metric. And then we need to get the contacts. But you could obviously, once you set up your 5chan connector, to do that in your data warehouse down the line. And there are more than one ways to skin this cat. And I'm happy to offline talk to you about different strategies, Ryan, if you are so inclined.
Okay. Thank you.
My pleasure. All right. I want to take you through, any other lingering questions at the moment? I realize we're coming close to time. Do you all want to go over? Do you want to circle back later? How can I best serve the group here? All right. I'm going to keep going. People drop off if you will. This is the biggest thing in my life right now, so I don't have another obligation at the moment. So I'll keep going, and anybody who has questions or wants to stay on can. And if I find myself talking to myself, I will leave. All right. So Sergio, go ahead.
If you can stay for 10 more minutes, we can configure 5chan to import all the Gladly data.
Oh, great. Yeah, let's do that as well. I think that'll be fun. All right. I want to just go through the way that this is set up and point to different aspects that are really important. This will help everyone understand the way that contacts are routed and the way things come in. So the first thing to think about is our channels. Channels, right now we're going to be using email, GladApp, which is chat, the IVR, which Ben set up last night, voice, and SMS. You can indeed hook up WhatsApp, Instagram messaging, or Facebook pages. Thanks, Ryan. Have a great one. We can indeed set up Instagram messaging, Facebook pages, whatever other channels that you guys want or have, but this is what we have to start. When you're setting up a channel like email, we'll start with email because email is unique. You have your domains. We have our DNS verification here for hellotech.com. So we can now send emails from HelloTech. The way that emails get into Gladly are with forwarding. So every single email address has a parallel forwarding address that you can see is a Gladly hosted email address. And so this techs@hellotech.com, the actual email address is techs@hellotech/-com, whatever. When we go live, what we will do is we'll set up this forwarding email to Gmail. And so every single contact that goes into a specific Gmail inbox will be forwarded onto Gladly while still preserving the from email address, and the send email address will appear to come to techs@hellotech.com. And that's the case with all of these different email addresses. The SMS configuration is very simple. You have your phone numbers. You can set up SMS for any of these phone numbers now. Since we're going through Twilio, once the port goes through, which should happen sometime next week for the AWS numbers, those can also be enabled to send and receive text messages, which you didn't have in the past, which I think will be a really great move for the 800 number on the site. If the main number is also the texting line, it makes everything easy for customers, and you can text from the number that they called. And so they know exactly who you are. Right now, the way that phones and SMS is set up, phones, we have two main numbers. We picked 414 because we preserved a 414 number for texting. So I just made sure it was all the same. So we have our customers main line and our field operations main line. During go live, everything from AWS will be forwarded into these lines. And then this is what the number before the port goes through that customers will receive phone calls from or texts from. And then we can modify it after the port to be focused on, by Hudson, to be focused on whatever numbers that you want. And we'll have to reconfigure some of these entry points once the port goes live. The way that an entry point is set up is when you enable a line. So you're saying that when you enable a line for SMS, you would then, or for any channel, you would then go into entry points. And so you can see we have all of our channels here. Entry points are set up thusly, where you have your main catch-all bucket. So you say every text to this number has an SLA of 15 minutes, and the default inbox is customer. However, we can have exceptions. And so any text that goes to this 3175 number, we're going to send that to field operations with the 15-minute SLA. And this is the text specific number, and this is the original one is the customer specific number. For now, we're defaulting everything to customers, since that is the inbox where we have the most people, to ensure that nothing gets missed. But if something does go to the wrong place, we can obviously transfer it, which is really easy, and I can demo that shortly. And then if you flag it to me, I can make sure that it goes where it needs to go. Voice is set up in the same way, where you have your main inbox, everything is customers, and then you set up exceptions. This exception is actually quite robust, which is capturing all of the different IVR exit points within the IVR that would send anywhere other than customers. Great. There is a lot more to cover, and I feel like we have gone over. I did want to just give some more time for questions, since we're a little all over the place, and perhaps an hour wasn't enough time to go through everything, but I think you'll have a good understanding of what we'll have upon go live. What other questions does anyone have? Yeah. Yeah. Why don't, so Chucky, I asked Butch if he could schedule a call with me and all of the team leads. And I wanted to do a specific like workforce management training and give you an overview, especially, and also call out questions that agents are most likely going to have, or problems you might encounter. Mary.
I think I'll wait for that.
Okay.
My question is more on the operation side, so.
Yeah, I'll take you all through operational best practices. I can work around y'all's schedule, so let me know today or tomorrow. Chucky, I'm free today, or I can do tomorrow, whatever works for you. Throw it on my calendar and I'll show up. Sound good?
So you're pretty much free for the rest of the day, Kelsey, right?
I'm free for the rest of the day, just working on this. So I have an obligation, I think at 1:30 CST, I have a small obligation.
For me, more than just the functionality of the tool, it's really the block and tackling for the day, right? When we go live, that's what I kind of want to care for.
Yeah.
WFM will definitely have a major role. There'll be quarterbacking for the day, right? They're the ones who see things from a larger perspective. They're the ones calling things out that are odd, for example, right? They're the ones who are supposed to be able to spot things very, very quickly. And then, of course, the TLs will have to kind of like monitor whether their agents are doing the right things. I think we'll start seeing whether they are or not when we start pulling up reports, right? So later on, maybe a week or two after go live, we also need to talk about what makes sense from a QA audit perspective, so that we get to double check on whether or not we've executed to the letter, or whether or not there are things that we had designed that are really not quite working well, right? So that's what I kind of wanted to discuss for the rest of the day. So expect 2 or 3 different invites for that,
Great.
Kelsey, so we can go over all of the details.
I'm at your service, and remember, guys, I'm also here. Gray Space team is here for 2 weeks, at least afterwards, to be here to help with anything. We're going to have issues, and I just want to be very clear about that. There's going to be problems that come up. It's how we react to those that will determine the efficacy of this implementation. And so we just need to, I think what's most important, and where I've struggled a little bit with this implementation, is just a POV on what it is that we're trying to achieve, or how a certain contact should be answered, or what we'd like to happen. I've set this up in a way that everything's going to get answered, assuming we staff correctly, within 24 hours. That's the hope. And that nothing will go missed. That being said, we can be a lot smarter, and we can make very, very, very detailed routing, and we can adjust it however we want. But I think if we go into this knowing that everything is not going to be perfect from the get-go, but we can build on top of it, I think we're going to be just fine. Cool. All right, guys. Well, thanks for, I guess we'll wrap this up, and I appreciate everybody's time. I know that this is a big deal in the middle of the Tuesday, but I do want to communicate that I think we're in a really, really, really good place. We truly did do about 3 months of work in about 2 weeks. So a lot was organized, but we're in with you guys for the long haul. So you let us know how it can be better, I'd like to invite you to open up your minds as to what is possible, and not what is happening right now, or what you've done before. Imagine flows that you would like to occur, and bring them up to me, and be specific, and we'll find a way to execute those.
Cool.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
My pleasure.
thank you.
I am sorry, Orion, for all the slacks.
It's okay. I appreciate. Honestly, I appreciate it. I do. I like the fact that everybody kind of just jumped in and did everything. Got this train rolling so fast. Calling in the right people. I might not have the answers, but I can coordinate like a son of a gun. I'll tell you that much.
You definitely can.
Yeah, I don't. No, I really do appreciate all the time that's been dumped into it.
Our pleasure. We're going to be ready for launch. It'll get better as time goes. I just beg everyone to be patient, and Butch and Mary and Chucky and the rest, if y'all can just communicate that to your teams, that we're doing the best we can with the timeline that we were given. But our goal is to have agents be in a much, much, much better place than you ever were with customer. To that end, just while we have everybody, Randall, I really need to grab you and talk through the support.com flow, and about exactly what we want to achieve. I'm still not quite there with the specifics of the flow.
Yeah.
So if we could grab some time to talk about that, and that is about it. For the Delighted integration, I'm not going to set. It's pretty easy. It's just point and click out of the box integration. I'm not going to set that up until we actually go live, because I don't want to junk up the instance right now. Because by the time we go live, if I set it up right now, we'll probably have a couple hundred reviews sitting there. So I will set that up right after go live, and then we can set up your QA flows, or talk about QA software, other things down the road.
Sick.
Oh,
That's good.
All right, guys. Have a lovely rest of your day. Butch, I look forward to a billion meeting invites. Randall, I'll harass you shortly.
Yep.
Have great days, guys. Okay. And I'm available if you need me at any point in time for anyone on this call. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.